Watch this.
But I'm not. It's like I'm thinking. Okay, so if I'm actually a user of the site, I'd be gone in like 4 videos because there's just not that many videos that I want to watch. Like videos like this, I can't never watch this out because it's gonna be like, dude, I'm not gonna put this up. This is lame. These videos are just gonna be just as large. I mean, yeah. Well, I was getting pretty depressed like towards the end of last week. And I was like, dude, we have like maybe 40, 50, 60 videos on the site, but I'm not. It's like I'm thinking. Okay, so if I'm actually a user of the site, I'd be gone in like 4 videos because there's just not that many videos that I want to watch. Like videos like this, I can't never watch this out because it's gonna be like, dude, I'm not gonna put this up. This is lame. These videos.
I went twice, so let's come out of there. Is that here? Yeah, you have it on. Okay, I'm blaming Edwards if you have the thing. So here we go. I want to talk about this video. So these gentlemen are sitting here talking about, we put a site up and we only got 40 videos, maybe 60 videos up, and they're feeling some kind of sadness. They said, I'm feeling a little depressed. We only got 40, 50 videos up. Who are these gentlemen? These gentlemen are the co-founders of YouTube. And I want you to understand something, that at the time that they started doing all of this, right, the big boy in town, the big cheese in town was what? Tom, what's that? MySpace. MySpace was the king, and they were the little fish in the big pond. So they actually started their site in 2005 as a dating site. It went nowhere, nobody cared. So these are the founders, and they shifted to general video sharing at that point. And that struggled. So this is Steve Chen, Chad Hurley, and Jared Curran, I think his last name. And they sat around feeling depressed. Now, I want you to understand this. They sat around feeling depressed because they had put whatever they had into developing this, and nothing was seeming to be happening for them. After a little more research, this is crazy. They was trying to get into a marketplace. So what did they do? They decided to start uploading videos advertising who they were and what they were on MySpace. And they began to promote it, and eventually it took off. They got a couple of viral videos, and watch this. When Google heard about them, they bought YouTube from them from $1.65 billion in 2006. That's a year later. They purchased this from them. So what is the point I'm bringing up? They're ready to give up. They were frustrated. Well, I don't know if they're ready to give up. Let me put those words in my mouth. But they were feeling depressed. They were feeling like they launched their thing and nothing was happening and nobody was paying it any attention. And now, all of a sudden, here we are. We have this phenomenal, great idea that we think is a great idea. We started as a dating site, which is corny, right? Because everybody then was trying to do dating sites. So they had to pivot. And I tell you guys this all the time. You have these great ideas. You think there's going to be the thing that's going to change the world. You don't get the response you want. You have to be able to stay with your dream. They knew they had a video site, but they didn't have the direction yet. They weren't clear. And a little over a year later, they sell this idea for $1.6 billion to Google. Let me see if anybody's commenting or have any responses to this. Hi, Karen. Good evening. And so we're looking at, I know there's a delay, so I have to give you a timely response. But these stories I'm going to show you tonight, and the things I want to show you tonight, is to help you get an idea of how important it is, one, to keep going, two, to get your brand to a place that you're doing something, even if you're not doing something that's not done, because listen, MySpace was there, but they were taking it to another level. And for them to now get to a place where they're feeling depressed and feeling like the world shut down on them, and then a little over a year later, get a $1.665 billion offering. Now I'm thinking that number could be, I mean, that date thing could be wrong. I think it took longer than a year. Now, maybe a year from their launch, but not a year from their inception. They, from what I heard and things I've heard before, they really beat around trying to get this thing off the ground for years. And then after they launched it, they were the first one to actually have a site that let you put videos up, not just pictures. And so this was a big thing. It's a different thing. She said, I had no idea that YouTube was starting around the same time as what? As MySpace? Yeah, MySpace was the king. There was nothing bigger than MySpace. And so, yeah. And he got offered some good money for MySpace, but it wasn't enough. And he said no. I think he got offered $500 million for it. And then for that time to be a first runner up. Then when he decided, then he wanted to try to sell it. Nobody wanted it. It wasn't worth anything anymore. Once Facebook hit, MySpace was dead in the water. And just so you know this, if you didn't know, Facebook originally started as a college app. If you weren't in a college and you didn't have a college email, you couldn't even get on it. So, you know, that's a pivot. That's a major pivot because they were just catering to college students and they had to change their platform and make it available for the world. So that changes things. But my point is, they came out with something and they were discouraged. Why am I bringing this up? Because a lot of you on here watching me, you're starting your own business. You're just trying to do your own thing. You're trying to, I don't care if it's technology or whatever, you have this idea that you want to push and everything looks to you like it's not going to happen. These guys said, we launched this thing, whatever time had passed, they only had 40 people put a video up and probably half of them was theirs. And my point is, it doesn't look good right now, but persistence and consistency pays off. Right, Nelly? Because you out here now doing oils, and you know, sometimes you sell 30, sometimes you sell 10. Today she did 5, and she had to leave. I'm sure she could have done more. But my point is, when it's going to be one day, it's going to be, oh, we only did 5,000. Oh, we only did 50,000 a day. Oh, we did 5 million. I mean, it grows like that if you stay with it, and you got to stick with it. Let me see some comments and stuff, and some hearts or whatever. That's one thing that's not going to show here, right? All that stuff. And when people put hearts and all that stuff, I'm not going to see. It does? I don't see anything. I don't see any comments. I don't see any movement from anybody. Yeah, I see a couple of them. Where's everybody at tonight? Because I'm talking, and I don't see questions, I don't see comments, I see responses. I got a couple more nice videos too coming. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's go to the next video. This one here was really, I love this one. Well, I love all of these, but I like you to see beginnings because I want you to see what can happen. And by the way, how was the volume on the video playing? I'd like to know. Which was the volume on the video good? You can just give me a thumbs up. Yes? Okay, excellent. All right, let's go to this one. This one is another social media type. So let's look at this video here because, again, what you're going to see tonight is no one started out at the top. Everyone had to go through a cycle of something to get accepted. So again, we just saw the YouTube creators in the video talking about how depressed they were because they didn't have any interest in what they were doing. Let's take a look at this one here.
Most people would stop at, oh, billionaire yacht, must be nice. They see wealth, status, a highlight reel. But when I look at this, I see someone who had to fight through things no one posts about. John Coombe, the founder of WhatsApp, owns this yacht, and he grew up in a small apartment in Ukraine with no hot water. He immigrated to the U.S., lived on food stamps, and lost his mom to cancer. He applied to Facebook. They turned him down. And 5 years later, he sold them WhatsApp for $19 billion. So yeah, you could call it a flex, but behind every overnight success is usually 10 years of setbacks nobody saw coming. Some people see a yacht. I see what it takes to survive the hard parts and build anyways.
How many of you knew that story? How many years later that he sold it to Facebook, the people who wouldn't give him a job? Do you remember how many years later it was? I have it in my notes. Let me see. Was it 10 years later? You can speak up. You have to whisper.
Oh, I think it was 10 years.
Came here from Ukraine, which is war-torn right now. Lived on food stamps. A lot of us can relate to that, huh? Struggled, fought his way through. Come up with a company. And what bothers me about a lot of these videos, because they don't show you the struggle. But I remember when the iPhone came out. There's a movie, by the way, you should watch called Blackberry. I think it's on Hulu and maybe on Prime. But about how the BlackBerry dominated the market, the iPhone came out, and they thought, yeah, that's just another cell phone that they're gonna, and it took them out, literally knocked them out the whole knocked them out the box. Let me tell you this: good technology or good ideas that usually get most resistance are what they call disruptive technologies. These are things that come out and they go against what's normal and what's common, and it messes up other industries. So the iPhone is interesting. People want to argue if it's the iPhone or the Android, whatever you want to pick, doesn't matter. The iPhone was first, right? They came out with the understanding that they could not only create something that was unique and different, but something that would disrupt technologies. Look how many businesses got upended by the iPhone. When's the last time you seen a record store? Exactly, right? The digital camera or the camera business. They fight and fight still to keep up with them because you now have a phone. You have a video recorder in your pocket, an audio recorder in your pocket, a video editor in your pocket. So disrupted a lot of the computer business. Watch this. You have a device in your hand where you can watch movies and videos while you're in the street. These are the kind of things. When last time you seen a CD player or a DVD player or a DVD? All these businesses went under. The stores, the people who make CDs, the people who make DVDs, recordable DVDs, all of these things don't exist anymore. Let's go with some more stuff. A CD drive. The company who was selling and making millions of dollars making CD drives and CD-ROMs to put in the Walkman, the CD portable CD player, all of that stuff. You get in the car now. Every car had a CD player. Not anymore. Now, then you get into the navigation market. I remember when the phones came out, they didn't have navigation. If they did, they were terrible. Now, you don't need to get a car with a nav system in it. Everybody uses their phone. So these are concepts that you come up with, which is called disruptive technologies. But you don't have to come up with anything that deep. People do it with clothing lines. What do you mean clothing lines? Yes, you can take a clothing line. You can make something that's already being made and been made and being produced all the time and come out with a way of approaching it that changes. Because some of you sitting here listening to this and going, but I'm not a tech person. I don't know how to do all this tech stuff. I don't know how to make a WhatsApp. I don't know how to make a, well, you just have to have an idea and then you bring people in to make it. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that. Can you do that with something as simple as a clothing line? Can you take some hoodies, some t-shirts, and some coats and jackets and whatever and turn it into a multi-billion-dollar thing. No, because that's tech. And tech, I mean, he created WhatsApp. No, well, they created YouTube. That's different. You can't do that with clothes, right? Well, we're going to talk about that. I want to know, what do you think? So let me tell you, hi. A couple people saying hi to me. Who's this? Super Thought. Hi, Super Thought. Hey, Talima. How you doing, baby? She, whoever you are, happy to see you. Hey, she, Karen Compton. How you doing? I mean, she probably don't want us using her government. That's why she calling us she. You ain't supposed to put it out there. Hi, she. We're going to act like we never said your name, even though we already did. Hello. Okay, so listen. So let's bring this back again, right? So we just showed you the YouTube creators in the room depressed because they weren't getting any views. Only 40 videos were placed on their site. Tom and MySpace was killing them. They're gone now. Now we talked about WhatsApp. Came over here from Ukraine, lived on welfare, food stamps, went to Facebook to get a job. They turned them down. 10 years later, they gave him billions of dollars for WhatsApp. I'm not a tech. Do you need to be? I want some answers to that in the chat. Do you need to be a tech genius to turn a concept into a billion-dollar concept? Do you need to have all the know-how and go into Stanford and know how to, first of all, just for the record, Zuckerberg didn't create squat. If you saw the movie, the Winklevoss twins came up with the Facebook concept and hired him to get some people to help him create it, and he pulled some kids together to create it and launched it on his own. And they sued him, and he had to pay them something. But the bottom line is, he didn't create squat. The Winklevoss twins came up with Facebook and the whole concept for Facebook. And he just took it and took it to another level. So let's just pay attention to that. Ray Kroc, even though we talk about him, did not found McDonald's. The McDonald's brothers did. But they only had the concept in mind how to run a store. And he took it, and I don't know if people know this, and I say it all the time, McDonald's is not rich as and wealthy as they are because of burgers. They are one, if not the biggest real estate company in the world. McDonald's became as big as they are because of real estate, not because of burgers. A lot of people don't know that, but that's a different story. And that's God playing Drake voice. Okay. So let's talk about this. Is there any comments on my question? Can you do this with stuff other than technology? Can you become a multi-billionaire with stuff other than technology? Any comments on that? Does it have to be technology? Can it be something that you can do right now in your house? Fubu was done in his mother's house. Can it be done? So then say, yes, you can. I answer. No, it doesn't have to be technology. Correct. So let me just show you another video. And just to show you by branding, by placement, and by vision, somebody who did this with a clothing line and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar clothing line. Ready? Let's go. No, it's too soon for that. Let's take a look at this video. We're going to get a kick out of this one.
He did the opposite. He won.
Okay. Let's start from the beginning. How do you make the video start from the beginning?
Wanted to turn Moncler into a luxury brand. Jackets that used to sell for $100 were now priced at $1,000. He stopped selling in Italian sports stores, opting instead for exclusive boutiques in fashion capitals like Paris, Gstaad, and Geneva. By collaborating with top designers, he successfully positioned Moncler as the ultimate status symbol. Of course, it wasn't easy. Everyone thought it would flop. But then, celebrities started wearing it. Suddenly, Moncler wasn't just a jacket. It was the jacket. Now, Moncler is worth over $13 billion, and Ruffini is still growing his empire while chilling on his 180-foot super yacht. This guy bought a failing sports jacket company for peanuts. Now it's worth over $13 billion. Back in 2003, Remo Ruffini bought Moncler for just around $1 million. And what did he do? He didn't lower prices to sell more. He did the opposite. He wanted to turn Moncler into a luxury brand. Jackets that used to sell for $100 were now priced at $1,000. He stopped selling in Italian sports stores, opting instead for exclusive boutiques in fashion capitals like Paris, Gstaad, and Geneva. By collaborating with top designers, he successfully positioned Moncler as the ultimate status symbol. Of course, it wasn't easy. Everyone thought it would flop. But then, celebrities started wearing it. Suddenly, Moncler wasn't just a jacket. It was the jacket. Now, Moncler is worth over $13 billion, and Ruffini is still growing his empire while chilling on his 180-foot super yacht. This guy...
How you like me now? $13 billion. Is that right? The right number? 13 billion? 14 billion? For some jackets? I thought that one of the things showed 14 billion. I was looking at the numbers up there. Edwards, what was it ultimately that he sold it for? Let me see what the notes say.
13 billion.
13? I'll take that. It's a billion less, but okay, I'll take it. For $100 jacket that he just decided to put a price on and make it a luxury brand. Maybe you won't go to 13 billion. Would you take one? Would you be happy with 1 billion? Would you be happy with half a billion? My point is, placement, he took it out the stores, put his own price on it, and threw it back out there in the market. And like everybody else that we saw, he got the no's. He got this not gonna work. He got this not a good ideas. He got all of that stuff. But he stood by what he believed. What I loved about the Google video we just watched in the beginning was it showed you the people depressed. It showed you the people feeling upset because it wasn't working the way they thought it would work. But they held on. So my point is, I guarantee you, everybody in each of these videos went through that same thing. Feeling dejected, feeling like, did I get into it? Did I do the right thing? Is it going to work for me? I looked over at Nelly because I know this may be them days sometimes where she feels like, but I say, let's celebrate every bottle sold. Some woman, Caucasian woman got on, where did she go on? Yeah, on their Square site, right? And gave this rave review about how she used it, how beautiful it made her hair and all that. I'm like, it only takes one thing like that. And hopefully she posted on her site, or we'll post it and link her to it. But my point is, this is what growth and success is about. Taking the bumps, taking the bruises that look like they're going to bring you down, and standing against it and saying, I'm going to stay true to this belief or vision of mine until I see a manifestation that I know will work for me. At which I know it's hard for you to jump in because you got to wait for the talking to stop, or you got to turn it down, whatever, so you can jump in and follow. Maybe you turn on the volume of your YouTube. The Moncler, yes, it's a great example of knowing your worth and adding tax to it. Come on, it's the truth though. the whole process of anything is I've learned and I'm learning. People believe it when you believe it. When you come to them and you trying to sell them, but you don't believe what you're selling, people feel your energy. You believe, then people believe. Let me look at this first. That's she's talking about Oprah, the, the inspiration, everything she went through, and I'm gonna tell you this: just about everybody I spoke to that's successful came from grind. Usually, rich kids don't go on to be rich. It's the ones who went through all the struggle that fight their way to the top and get there. There's a saying, I don't know if I'll say it right, but I'll try. He said there's a man who walked 5 miles to work every day so that he can make success for his kids. His kids will drive. His grandkids, I think, will fly, and then their grandkids will walk again because they didn't have the drive or the hunger to take it over to the next generation. I think the Rockefellers are probably of the few who set a thing in place, and I think the Waltons are following their example that the wealth gets passed down for generations. But the Vanderbilts went flat broke. They went through all that wealth that was left to them and had big parties and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, the key to failure is when you spend more than you bring in, you got a problem. Now, there's seasons where you find yourself doing that because you're working your way to the top. But then there comes a point where you need to constantly be working to change your income to being greater than what goes out. If you want to succeed, that's the only way to do it. And I'm learning that now on a different level. Like I said, we have the book almost done. You ready? Let's grow, and it's going to have my sayings and my quotes. But I've been looking into and been in the process of setting it up to have the sayings, the name, the logo, the saying "You ready? Let's grow," trademark. And I'm saying it now like it's a lot of money because it's like, whoa, that's very much. But we're looking at like $6,000, right? Just to trademark it in one category, one class, they call it. So I'm looking at that going like, whoa, I got to spend that much. And it's like, but I'm invested in myself. I'm invested in my dream. And if that's what it costs, then that's what it costs. So again, these people that you see on here, they had to go through this. They had to walk through this. They had to feel the pain of it. But from everything from technology to somebody coming here from a foreign country and doing it, to somebody taking a clothing line and doing it, my point is success is possible, but you have to do the work. And you got to be willing to do the work, no matter how hard that work seems. If either one of you guys want to say anything, I'll let you in. If anybody put any comments, any questions, I'll answer them. But at this point, I'm coming to the point of wrapping up. So, with the last second, last call, what you got?
Mr. Brown, I think this goes in line with what what we touched on last week about that sacrifice. If you don't put in the work, you're sacrificing the opportunity for you to be successful. And putting in that investment, like you said, it's $6,000, but you could make that $6,000 over and over and over. And what that means to to this company, like the name that it's going to represent, like that $6,000 is going to be a drop in the bucket. But right now, it's an investment.
I'm looking forward to saying, man, I got to spend $600,000 to do this, man. This is something. I'm looking forward to saying it like, man, they want $6 million. I got to do it, but I'm looking forward to those days. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to the day saying, man, $6 billion? Okay, I mean, if that's what I got to do. I'm looking forward to those days. It's the steps up the ladder, and I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to it. What about you, little lady? Did you got something to say? And you got to speak up or move closer or something.
No, yeah, I'm excited for those days too. And just like you said earlier about just pushing forward in spite of how you feel, like just keep going. I was very much inspired by that story about it was Google,
Mm-hmm.
because it just lets you know that people are human beings. They're regular, just like us. We all came from the same place. Our mother's womb. We have a mind, and we push and read and study and don't give up. You can make it. So it's very possible. And I'm going out there every day, meeting people with that type of expectation. Like get through the no's so that I can get through the yeses and find the gold. The diamond in the rough, that great opportunity that will take us over the top.
Yes. So listen, nobody's any different than you. You only perceive they are because you put them in a God place. But everybody, the lady said it in the video. Every overnight success, there's 10, 15 years behind the scene that nobody saw, right? There's, it's overnight because you just seen it, but it took 10, 15 years. I've seen so many people talk about, like, I grew my business. My generation is different than the younger generation, but my generation said they seen their success and their biggest, you know, wins in their 60s. This generation now, you can do it younger because the technology allows you to do it. There's so many opportunities and so much that can be done, but you have to be willing to pay the price. You have to be willing to go forward and not stop. You gotta be able to not just look at people and say they're ahead of me, but look at people and say, but how did they get ahead of you? Where did they start? And if you follow the same path, you can get the same place they got. That's the law of reciprocity. That's the law of seed time and harvest. That's the law of success and failure. You speak life, you sow the seeds of life, you go forward and you do things that earn life, and as a result, you walk away with the winnings of a person who contribute to growing and creating life. You sow death, you reap death. You sow life, you reap life. I've never seen a person who walks around in heavy depression and sadness and feeling sorry for himself ever reap anything but more depression and more sadness. I've never seen a person sow into that realm and come out on top. It doesn't work. Nobody eventually feels sorry for you and come and pick you up and take you away. It always comes from you sowing seed in the direction that you want to go and forcing yourself, even through the darkest times, to push forward into your victory. And it's never been any different, and it never will be. But you make the difference. Life and death is in the power of your tongue. You decide what your destiny is going to be by what you lay out in the road ahead of you. And you do have the power to lay it out ahead of you. You can throw the pavement stones in front of you as you go forward. But it's your choice and it's your call. Nobody else can help you get there if you don't want to. You ready? Let's go.